He's Bob Kravitz, the Indianapolis Star columnist who joins us on the program. What happened in Game 3, Bob?
Udonis Haslem happened. I mean, look, I think the Pacers are willing to take their lumps from the big three. I think they're willing to, let LeBron get his 25 to 30. Wade's going to get his 17 to 20. Bosh is going to get his 15 to 17. But Udonis Haslem, 8 of 9. Chris Anderson, 6 points, a bunch of rebounds. Ray Allen started to get off a little bit. Battier hit a big three or two. And heading into that game, that's all they talked about was not letting the other guys beat them. And that's exactly what happened. And if those guys start playing well on a consistent basis, this series won't last much longer.
Well, the way I looked at it is, the big three. You sort of keep them at their averages. You can't have a fourth contributed to the big three. And if you do that, then you're going to lose. And if you had Haslam and you had Birdman contribute the way they did, and they played almost a perfect half there, that first half with Indiana. So I was sort of surprised, but sometimes you realize how great a team is by what they do on the road, not necessarily what they do at home.
Right, and the way they bounce back, and they've been doing this, for a couple of years. I just thought, a lot of times in the media we look for someone to blame. We look at the losing team and what did they do wrong. And quite honestly, even Frank Vogel said after the game we gave up 114 points and didn't play that bad a defense. I mean, sometimes you just sort of tip your hat to the other guy and say, you know what, that was breathtaking basketball. They scored 70 points against the best defensive team in the league.
And one turnover.
One stinking turnover, 63% shooting. That is astounding. And I mean, they were moving the ball. They got the smart move they made in the first half. They went away from it in the second half, which surprised me. But in the first half they got LeBron James down on the post. And look, the Pacers will not double LeBron James. They have a staunch refusal to do so. I don't think they'll even consider it unless they go down 3-1 and become desperate. But they believe they can cover anybody and everybody one-on-one. And LeBron was getting 5 and 6 dribbles in the post and doing whatever he wanted to do, whether he was scoring or facilitating.
I had a real problem with Dwayne Wade with the elbow to Lance Stevenson.
So did I, obviously.
I mentioned to start the show, if it's the other way around, Lance Stevenson's playing in China.
Lance Stevenson's out of the league.
Right? Yeah, but I just don't understand Dwayne Wade, that he lowers himself. He does things like this that are for a journeyman, whereas the other things he does are a Hall of Famer. I can't quite figure out this dichotomy of Dwayne Wade.
I was talking with one of the Heat beat writers the other day. I'll leave him remaining nameless, but he said he is a frustrated player. When he gets frustrated, and he's frustrated now because he can't do all the things that he wants to do, he does some really low-down, dirty stuff. And we saw it with Ramon Sessions. We saw it with Kobe. We saw it with Rajon Rondo. I mean, how you cannot say he's a dirty player is utterly beyond me. And I love the guy as a player, and he's a good guy to deal with as a media member. And I've heard all kinds of great things from him, from Tom Crean. But, to me, I was dumbfounded as I was listening and monitoring the TV broadcast that both Reggie Miller and Steve Kerr thought that was not intentional or malicious in any way. My goodness. I mean, it was a Jimmy Superfly Snuka elbow to the head. What else do you need to see? And to me, a flagrant one is, I think that's a case of him getting the star treatment from the NBA.
And that's part of the problem, perception, reality here.
Yes.
This is Dwayne Wade. And I know that David Stern would yell at me and want to wrestle with me, but if it's the other way around, that Wade would have been on the floor and, they would have had to carry him off on a stretcher, even if he wasn't hurt. Now, the problem is it's Lance Stevenson doing, Dwayne Wade doing it to Lance Stevenson, not the other way around.
Right, yeah. I mean, look, if it was Ron Artest, he'd be in jail right now.
Yeah.
And part of the problem for Lance Stevenson, quite honestly, is that he is a drama queen. And so there's always the belief that maybe he's flopping a little bit, but I don't think he flopped on that one. I watched that replay a good 15 times.
Well, even if he flopped, it was still the intent of Dwayne Wade. It looked like he was going up top and he was going to try to hit him in the head. Whether he hit him or not, it was premeditated in my opinion.
There is no question in my mind. I'm glad to hear that somebody else out there agrees with me, because I hesitated to write it just because it sounded like I was being a fan, and I take pride in, kind of being the anti-homer and not saying much about the officiating.
Well, I have no stake in this. I'm not.
Yeah, you have no stake in it. So I appreciate that. I just thought it was egregious. I thought it was malicious. I thought it was intentional. And I heard Steve Kerr, who I have great respect for, saying, well, we don't know what the intent was. What the hell difference does the intent make?
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
I wasn't intending to shoot the guy in the head, but didn't mean to kill him, but, by God, that's what happened.
We're talking to Bob Kravitz, Indianapolis Star columnist. Expectations for tonight's Game 4. How important is this? Pretty much season tonight?
Yeah, season tonight. You can't go down 3-1 to these guys. I mean, look, they're 47 and 4 in their last 51 or some crazy number like that. You're not going to beat them 3 times in a row, especially twice in Miami. It's crazy. I talked with Sam Mitchell yesterday. He thought they came in a little overconfident. I don't know how you come in overconfident against a team that's, 1,001 in its last, however many games. But they just seemed like they felt like they had their number, and boy, they got humbled, absolutely humbled the other night. The question is going to be, how many adjustments do they make, and what kinds of adjustments do they make? I think they're talking a lot about adjustments, and I think, quite honestly, they're not going to do a hell of a lot. I think their feeling is, you know what, if Udonis Haslem is going to hit 8 out of 9 shots,
yep,
we're just going to have to deal with that. With these guys, it's a pick your poison proposition, the way they space you out. And I think if Haslam continues to hit those shots, and Battier and Chris Anderson, I think they're just going to have to live with it.
Before I let you go, local reaction to Notre Dame quarterback Everett Goldson getting suspended for academic reasons.
Yeah, not a ton down here in Indianapolis, to be perfectly honest with you, but I think the feeling, generally speaking, is that Notre Dame is really in trouble coming into. I mean, they have an absolutely brutal schedule, as they always do. And, Tommy Reese is going to be your quarterback, really. They got a couple of young guys, I guess. Gunnar Kiel probably wishes he hadn't transferred for the 12.
Yeah.
No, it's they've lost so much on the defensive side of the ball. Now they lose Golson. They're really going to struggle next year.
Have fun tonight, Bob.
Okay, sure will, Dan.
Be on your best behavior. Thank you.
All right.
Bob Kravitz, Indianapolis Star columnist. And look, I'm already hearing from the Heat fan. I have no stake in this at all. I'm just telling you what I saw. And to me, Dwayne Wade, if it was the other way around, tell me Lance Stevenson's not suspended. Okay? That's all. Tell me he's not suspended. And if you're Dwayne Wade, and he's always talking about his legacy, and he hopes he's getting credit, for, playing through this, after game 1, your legacy is also going to have a paragraph in there of you being a dirty player. Because look at the hit list there. We keep adding players to it. Kobe, Rajon Rondo, Ramon Sessions. In an all-star game, you broke Kobe's nose. Rondo, dislocated elbow. It's not a coincidence.